everyone, welcome again to another Teacher Joseph podcast, or I should say video clip. We're going through my weekly lesson, which is called Visiting the New Library. And yesterday we went through some of these phrases which I've marked in blue. Today we're going to go through these ones which I've marked in green. First of all, something which is bandage color. This is a rather sarcastic reference to the way our government decorate their offices. Now, a bandage, if you've ever had some kind of injury or if you've ever been to a hospital, you'll know that they wrap you up in a bandage. So let's say, for example, you break your arm, or let's say you hurt your leg. Usually they put some dressing on there and then they cover it with a bandage to hold it in place. It's kind of yellow in color, not quite white, and it has a kind of a texture to it. And I'm comparing here that bandage to the color of the wallpaper which you find in government departments. And that's the same here with the reference to government chic, meaning government fashion or government styles. Because as you know, governments generally are not bright places with bright colors to make you feel good. They're usually very bland, very white. They don't really look like they are very nice places. So referring to the wallpaper or the color scheme there is bandage color, is referring to that thing that the hospital gives you. Only because it looks kind of similar. Okay, so bandage is not actually a color, in case you're wondering. Okay, it's just an adjective to describe what the color looks like here. Okay, it's a style of writing. It's a little bit sarcastic, saying that the government doesn't really have a chic style. Okay, moving on, a carousel. Well, you'll know this word because when kids go to play in the local kids' playground, there's usually a place with it looks like a metal disc on the ground, and there's a platform on top of it which rotates, and there's little horses for the kids to sit on. That's called a carousel. But a carousel is also a piece of furniture which is round and you can rotate it. It holds books. It's like a book trolley, but it's round. Okay. The next part here, it says staff wearing branded fleece tops. Okay, so a fleece is a type of jumper. All right, but it has a little zip on the top. It's not the kind of jumper you would maybe be wearing when you're having dinner or going out for the evening. It's more just a practical thing to keep you warm while you are moving around outside. Okay, it's called a fleece top and it's part of a clothing range called fleece clothing. The literal meaning of the word fleece is like wool, and top just means jumper. It goes on the top part of your body. So branded, of course, means it has a logo. So a branded fleece top is referring to the practical clothes they're wearing there, which is branded with the local government's name. Here it says at least they're paid to offer a service, whereas a library service has all the charm of visiting a tax office. Now again, this is a rather sarcastic piece of writing here. Has all the charm of simply means has all the good things of something else. Yeah, but of course, visiting a tax office, there are no good things. So I'm saying the library service, yeah, it has all the great things that a tax office has. Yeah, and as you know, tax offices don't really have any good things except that bandage colored wallpaper and piles of paper everywhere. So it's a reference there sarcastically that the library service has all the charm of visiting a tax office. It means it's the same experience, and has all the charm of means a positive experience. But the dark humor there is because there isn't a good thing about visiting a tax office. So it's very interesting. Right, whereas a library service has all the charm of visiting a tax office, we always use has all the charm of when we're referring to two things which are equally dire or awful. Um, you wouldn't say, for example, if you're comparing the library service to some fantastic thing, like let's say you're comparing it to the service of a private bookstore, you wouldn't say, whereas the library service has all the charm of a wonderful bookstore. No, it's used more sarcastically to say how bad it is. Okay, British humor is rather dark, and we often say nice words to give us a bad feeling. So, whereas the library service has all the charm of visiting a tax office, you would say, but there is no charm in the tax office. Exactly. Yeah, that's the funny part. It's a little bit hard, and I think all of these words today are a little bit difficult. A state of grandeur is basically when something is very, very grand, well made, big, beautiful. And I was saying here that the old library with the varnished wood, that's the wood that's painted or stained brown, glass windows and stone steps, it existed in a state of grandeur. It was beautiful with its Roman pillars outside, Italian style atriums. I'm sure the plural used to be atria or something like this because that's a Latin word, but in English we just say atriums. Italian style atriums with huge shelves and ladders for staff to reach them. So just to recap there, bandage and color. Bandage is not a color, it's a reference to the thing they put on your leg at hospital when you're in the hospital. So it's a reference there to the scheme of decoration, which I'm calling government chic, government fashion, because of course there's no such thing as government fashion. They're hardly fashionable. Carousel, a little block of wood with shelves you can put books into that rotates. Branded fleece tops, well, a fleece was, of course, um, or is, I should say, a type of clothing, fleece clothing. You can Google it. It's like a jumper with a little zip on the top for casual wear. Top meaning jumper, branded means it has a logo, has all the charm of an expression we use to be rather sarcastic when we're talking about people and comparing them to other people or other places. So I could say, oh, my friend John, he has all the charm of King Kong, for example. And state of grandeur just means something very posh, very nice, and very beautiful. And we don't, unfortunately, have many of those left. So, kind of hard words today, because these words, especially bandage, government chic, state of grandeur, they tend to be used to describe or to create a particular mood. So you're not going to see them just in the usual way. Um, they come more from narratives which are much more personal, and in my case, a little bit bitter. You know, King Kong has all the charm of Attila the Hun. That's another one that you could say, for example. So uh, that's a reference that British people often make, as I'm sure they might do in your country. Oh, my friend John, he has all the charm of a crocodile because he attacks people. Or Attila the Hun, which I think was an old historical character who was known for attacking people or places. There we are. That's it from me today. A little bit harder, but don't worry, it gets easier. Okay, see you. Bye.